The Ganymede Research Station's primary lab fell silent as Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display floating before her. The sample analysis couldn't be right. She'd run it 3 times already, but the results remained the same. The metallic structure they'd discovered buried 2 kilometers beneath Ganymede's icy surface defied everything they knew about metallurgy. Dr. Chen, her assistant, Marcus Wong, approached cautiously. The drilling team reports they've cleared the final layer. We have full access to the structure now. Sarah nodded absently, her eyes still fixed on the analysis results. Marcus, look at these molecular bonds. They're impossible. This metal, it's incorporating elements that shouldn't be stable at any temperature. It's like someone rewrote the laws of physics. The structure had been discovered during a routine geological survey. It's perfect geometric shaped, standing out against the chaotic natural formations of Jupiter's largest moon. Initial scans had suggested it was artificial, but no one had expected anything like this. The team's ready when you are, Marcus reminded her gently. We're all eager to see what's inside. Sarah finally tore her gaze away from the display. Right. Yes. Let's go make history. The journey to the excavation site took 20 minutes by crawler, the massive vehicle easily handling Ganymede's broken terrain. Through the reinforced windows, Jupiter hung enormous in the black sky, its swirling storms a constant reminder of humanity's tiny place in the cosmos. The structure's entrance loomed before them, a perfect arch carved from the mysterious metal. Its surface seemed to drink in light while simultaneously giving off a subtle luminescence, creating an effect that made Sarah's eyes water if she looked at it too long. Environmental readings are stable, announced Dr. James Patel, their security officer. Atmosphere inside is thin but breathable. Temperature is holding at 15 degrees Celsius. He paused, checking another reading. And there's something else. The structure appears to be generating power. Very low levels, but it's active. Sarah felt her heart rate quicken. An alien structure, still operational after who knew how many thousands or millions of years. This was beyond anything they'd prepared for. Full containment protocols, she ordered, her voice steady despite her excitement. No one touches anything without triple-checking it first. This is first contact protocol now. People. The team moved carefully through the entrance, their lights revealing corridors that branched off in mathematically perfect patterns. The walls were covered in what appeared to be writing, not pictographs or hieroglyphs, but something more akin to mathematical equations rendered in 3 dimensions. Look at this, Marcus called out, his light playing over a section of wall. These patterns, they're describing stellar fusion processes, but there's more to it. It's like they found a way to control fusion at the quantum level. Sarah approached a large circular platform in what appeared to be the structure's central chamber. As she drew near, lights began to flicker to life throughout the facility, and a holographic display materialized above the platform. The image showed a star, but not as anyone had ever seen one before. The stellar material was being manipulated, drawn out in impossible ways, shaped and forged into something new. The star was being mined, its very substance transformed into the metal that surrounded them. They built this place using metal forged from stars, Sarah whispered in awe. They found a way to harvest and stabilize stellar material. But as more of the holographic record played out, Sarah realized they were seeing more than just in technological achievement. The images showed vast dark shapes moving between the stars, consuming everything in their path. The star metal cities were being built as refuges, sanctuaries against something that devoured light itself. A new series of equations appeared, more urgent in their rendering. Sarah's breath caught as she began to understand their meaning. This isn't just a historical record, she said, her voice tight with concern. It's a warning. According to these calculations, the thing they were hiding from, it's coming back, and it's headed straight for our solar system. Marcus stepped closer to the hologram, his face pale in its light. How long do we have? Sarah's fingers flew over her tablet as she translated the alien mathematics. If these numbers are right, less than 5 years. But they left us something else. She pointed to a new set of equations materializing before them. They left us the knowledge of how to forge star metal. They're showing us how to defend ourselves. As if in response to her words, the entire facility hummed to life, its ancient systems awakening fully for the first time in millennia. The star metal walls began to pulse with a soft, rhythmic light, like a beacon being lit after an age of darkness. "Send word to Earth," Sarah ordered, her voice firm with purpose. Tell them we found something. Something that's going to change everything. We're not alone in the universe, and we never were. But more importantly, we have work to do." The facility's light pulsed stronger, casting their shadows long against walls made from the hearts of stars. Humanity had just inherited both a legacy and a burden. The knowledge of what was coming, and perhaps the means to survive it. The question was, could they master the art of star metal forging in time? Above them, Jupiter continued its eternal dance, unaware that in its shadow, humanity had just taken its first steps toward becoming something more than anyone had ever dreamed possible. The inheritance of stars. 6 months after the discovery on Ganymede, Earth's orbital shipyards hummed with unprecedented activity. The massive industrial complex, stretching dozens of kilometers through space, represented humanity's first attempts at working with star metal. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation window of Control Station Alpha, watching as robotic fabricators assembled another section of what would become humanity's first star-forged vessel. "The latest batch of stellar material is ready for processing," Marcus reported, joining her at the window. The past months had aged him, dark circles under his eyes testament to countless sleepless nights spent decoding the alien knowledge they'd inherited. Sarah nodded, checking the readings on her tablet. "The quantum stabilization is holding better this time. We're learning." She paused, allowing herself a small smile. "They were right about us, you know." "Who was?" "The beings who built the Ganymede facility. The ones we've started calling the Forerunners. Their messages, they weren't just warnings. They were tests." She gestured to the shipyard. They needed to know that whoever found their legacy would have the drive, the intelligence, and the sheer determination to master star metal crafting in time. Beyond the window, a massive crucible rotated slowly, its interior glowing with the captured heart of a star. Inside, under conditions that should have been impossible to maintain, matter was being transformed. The Forerunners had discovered that certain types of stellar material, when properly processed, could be forged into metals that defied conventional physics. The process required precision at the quantum level and energy inputs that would have seemed impossible 6 months ago. Dr. Chen, a young engineer, burst into the control room. "We've detected new activity from the Ganymede facility. It's responding to our work here." Sarah rushed to the main control panel. The readings showed a clear energy signature emanating from the alien structure, pulsing in perfect synchronization with their stellar forge. "It's not just responding," she breathed. "It's guiding us. Quick, adjust the quantum matrix to match its frequency." As they aligned their systems with the ancient facility's pulse, the molten star metal in their crucible began to shift, its molecular structure reorganizing into patterns they hadn't been able to achieve before. The Forerunners had built their facilities to be teaching tools, waiting for a species with the potential to understand and use them. "Look at these readings," Marcus said, his voice filled with wonder. "The energy efficiency just jumped by 300%. They're showing us how to do it properly." But their breakthrough was interrupted by an urgent message from the long-range detection array on Pluto. Dr. James Patel's face appeared on the main screen, his expression grim. "Sarah, we've confirmed it. The void anomalies the Forerunners warned about. We're detecting them at the edge of the Oort cloud. Multiple signatures, moving faster than we initially calculated." Sarah felt her heart sink. "How long?" "At current velocities, 3 years, maybe less. They're being drawn to areas of high stellar activity. Our sun is calling to them." Sarah turned back to the shipyard, where humanity's first star metal vessel was taking shape. It wasn't enough. They needed more than just ships. They needed the full defensive infrastructure the Forerunners had built. Cities, shields, weapons, all forged from the same impossible metal. "Send word to all the space agencies," she ordered. "Every major colony and station needs to begin construction of a stellar forge immediately. And get me a direct line to the Security Council. They need to understand. Everything we've built, every city and station, needs to be retrofitted with star metal shielding." As her team rushed to comply, Sarah studied the holographic projections showing the void anomalies approach. The Forerunners had faced this threat and survived, scattering their knowledge across the galaxy in hopes that other species would find it in time. Now humanity had inherited their legacy, but with it came a burden none of them had been prepared for. "There's something else," Marcus said quietly, reviewing data from the Ganymede facility. "These new transmissions, they suggest the Forerunners didn't just run from the void entities. They found a way to fight back. But the data is fragmented. I think they split their knowledge between multiple facilities. What we have is only part of the solution." Sarah's mind raced with implications. "Then we need to find the others. Fast." She pulled up a stellar map, overlaying it with the patterns they'd decoded from the Forerunner facility. These coordinates, they're not just random locations. They're a map leading to other facilities. A soft chime drew their attention back to the forge. The latest batch of star metal had finished processing, its surface rippling with the same otherworldly patterns they'd first observed on Ganymede. Humanity was learning, adapting, pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. But as Sarah watched the void anomalies creep closer in the long-range scans, she couldn't help but wonder, would it be enough? The star metal sang its quantum song as it cooled, a reminder that they were no longer alone in their fight for survival. The Forerunners had given them the tools. Now it was up to humanity to prove they were worthy of the inheritance of stars. The coming storm. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the NSV Starforge, humanity's first star metal vessel, as it patrolled the outer edges of the solar system. The ship's quantum sensors painted an impossible picture of the space ahead, regions where light simply ceased to exist, where the fundamental forces of the universe twisted in ways that made her crew's instruments scream in protest. "Contact bearing 347, her sensor officer announced, voice steady despite the tension. "Void signature matches Forerunner records. It's big, Captain. Bigger than anything we've encountered so far." Maya studied the tactical display, where a massive dark mass moved through the Kuiper belt, consuming everything in its path. Regular matter, energy, even the vacuum of space itself, all of it vanished into whatever dimensional nightmare the void entities called home. "Engineering, status of the star metal shields?" she asked. "Holding at 98%, Captain," Chief Engineer Zhao responded. "The quantum resonance patterns Dr. Chen developed are working. The void can't touch us as long as the shields stay up." Maya nodded, but she knew their defenses were only part of the solution. The Starforge wasn't just a defensive platform. It was humanity's first attempt at weaponizing the star metal technology. Within its core, stellar matter churned in carefully controlled patterns, waiting to be unleashed. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered. "Let's see if the Forerunners' weapons work as well as their shields." The void entity seemed to sense their presence, turning its unfathomable mass toward the Starforge. Where it moved, stars winked out, their light and energy consumed by the cosmic horror. But the star metal hull of Maya's ship glowed defiantly, pushing back against the darkness with its quantum-engineered brilliance. "Weapon systems online," Tactical reported. "Starforge core at maximum capacity." Maya took a deep breath. They'd tested the weapons in simulations, but this would be their first real combat deployment. "Target the entity's central mass. Fire when ready." The Starforge's main cannon activated, channeling the power of a captured star through pathways of impossibly stable stellar matter. A beam of pure stellar energy, contained and focused by star metal accelerators, lanced out toward the void entity. Where the beam struck, reality itself seemed to scream. The void entity recoiled, its darkness momentarily pierced by the weaponized starlight. But their victory was short-lived. The entity began to adapt, its structure shifting to absorb even this new form of attack. Multiple contacts. Sensors shouted. They're coming through some kind of spatial rift. Count is 15, no, 20 void signatures. Maya's tactical display filled with readings as more void entities poured into the solar system. The Starforge was powerful, but not powerful enough to face an army of cosmic horrors alone. She opened a channel to Earth Command. Command, this is Starforge. We've confirmed the weapons are effective, but the entities are adapting. And they're not alone. We need to accelerate the production of the defensive fleet. The storm isn't coming. It's already here. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen received Maya's transmission with growing concern. The orbital shipyards were working at maximum capacity, but they needed more than just ships. The Forerunner data had hinted at a larger defensive network, a way to shield entire planets from the Void's influence. The latest signal from the Ganymede facility, Marcus reported, rushing into her office. We've decoded more of it. Sarah, there's something about the star metal we didn't understand before. It's not just a material. It's alive, in a way. It resonates with conscious thought. The Forerunners didn't just build with it. They formed a symbiotic relationship with it. Sarah stared at the new data, her mind racing with possibilities. That's why our efficiency improved when we fully committed to the project. The star metal responds to our determination, our will to survive. She pulled up the latest production figures. We need to share this with every forge facility. If we can enhance the connection between the operators and the star metal. Her words were interrupted by a priority alert. The void entities had broken through the outer system defenses. The Starforge and its small squadron of support ships were falling back, unable to hold the line against the overwhelming numbers. How long until the planetary shield network is operational? Sarah demanded. At current rates, 2 months minimum, Marcus replied. We need more time. Sarah looked out her window at the sprawling forge complex, where thousands of workers labored to build humanity's defenses. The star metal sang to her now, its quantum harmonies carrying messages she was only beginning to understand. The Forerunners hadn't just left them technology. They'd left them a way to evolve, to become something more than they had been. Then we'll have to make time, she said, reaching for her communicator. Get me the Security Council. I have a proposal that might sound crazy, but right now, crazy is all we've got. As she prepared to present her plan, Sarah couldn't help but wonder if this was how the Forerunners had felt, facing the void for the first time. They'd survived, adapted, and grown stronger. Now it was humanity's turn to prove they could do the same. The star metal hummed around her, resonating with her determination. They would find a way. They had to. The alternative was the end of everything they'd ever known. Crucible of stars. Sarah's crazy plan turned out to be something unprecedented in human history. As the void entities pushed deeper into the solar system, every forge facility on Earth, Mars, and the orbital stations began implementing her radical new approach to star metal synthesis. If the material truly responded to consciousness and will, then humanity would give it something it had never experienced before, the combined mental focus of billions of minds. Global quantum networks, originally designed for communications, were repurposed to create a vast web of synchronized human consciousness. Every person who could safely connect became part of what they called the Crucible Network, a massive psychological feedback loop between humanity and the star metal they'd learned to forge. In her laboratory beneath Mount Fuji, Sarah monitored the first global synchronization attempt. Neural activity is holding steady, she reported, watching as billions of human minds linked together through quantum-enhanced interfaces. Star metal resonance is increasing across all facilities. The effect was immediate and stunning. In orbital foundries and planetary forges, star metal began responding to human will with unprecedented efficiency. Production rates quadrupled overnight. More importantly, the material itself was evolving, developing properties that even the Forerunner records hadn't predicted. They never tried this, Marcus realized, studying the data. The Forerunners were more advanced technologically, but they were also more isolated, more individual. They never attempted to merge their consciousness on this scale. Captain Maya Rodriguez felt the difference aboard the Starforge. The star metal hull sang with new power, responding to her crew's thoughts with an immediacy that made the ship feel like an extension of their own bodies. They were no longer just operating the vessel. They were becoming one with it. "All ships, form up," she ordered, leading her growing fleet against another wave of void entities. "Let them feel what humanity can do when we stand together." The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's first major victory against the void. Ships moved with impossible precision, their crews linked through the Crucible network, their weapons charged with not just stellar energy but human will. The void entities, for the first time, found themselves facing an enemy that could adapt as quickly as they could. But the true breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Patel, monitoring the quantum networks from Pluto Station, detected something remarkable. "The star metal isn't just responding to us," he reported excitedly. "It's changing us. Our neural patterns, our very consciousness. It's evolving to match the quantum state of the material." Sarah had suspected something like this might happen. The Forerunners' warning about symbiosis hadn't just been about technology. It had been about evolution. The star metal was a bridge between normal matter and something higher, a way for consciousness itself to transcend its physical limitations. "We're becoming like them," she whispered, watching the neural readings. "No, we're becoming something new, something neither human nor Forerunner." The void entities seemed to sense the change. Their attacks became more desperate, more frenzied. Through the Crucible network, humanity could feel their ancient enemies' fear of what their prey was becoming. In orbit around Jupiter, the Ganymede facility pulsed with renewed energy. More of its data banks activated, revealing secrets the Forerunners had hidden until their inheritors were ready. The star metal cities they had built weren't just refuges or weapons platforms. They were transformation engines designed to shepherd nascent civilizations toward a new state of existence. They didn't run from the void, Sarah announced to the emergency session of the Security Council. They transcended it, and now they're showing us how to do the same. But transformation came with a price. The human mind wasn't designed to maintain such deep connection with quantum phenomena. The Crucible network was pushing them to their limits, and even with carefully managed exposure times, the strain was showing. "We need to complete the planetary defense network before our people burn out," Marcus warned, showing her the medical data. "The neural load is too much for long-term exposure." Sarah studied the latest projections. The void entities were massing for what looked like a final push, gathering in numbers that dwarfed anything they'd seen before. The combined fleet, even with its enhanced capabilities, couldn't hope to stop them all. "Then we finish it now," she decided. "We take everyone into the network, every human mind we can safely connect. One final push, all of us together." "The risks," Marcus began, "are nothing compared to what happens if we fail," Sarah finished. She looked out at the star metal facilities that now encircled the Earth, their quantum resonance patterns matching the beating hearts of billions of humans. "We've come too far to back down now." As the void entities approached, humanity prepared for its greatest test. Through the Crucible network, they could feel each other's fear, determination, and hope. The star metal sang with their combined will, ready to either transform them into something greater or burn them out in the attempt. The final battle for Earth was about to begin, and with it, the moment that would determine whether humanity would transcend its limits or be consumed by the darkness between the stars. Legacy of the Forge. The void came like a tide of unlight, billions of entities moving as one vast darkness that threatened to swallow the solar system whole. Through the Crucible network, every human connected could feel their approach, an ancient hunger that had devoured countless civilizations across the cosmos. Aboard the Starforge, Captain Maya Rodriguez stood at the center of humanity's combined fleet. The star metal ships pulsed with the collective will of their crews, their quantum resonance patterns synchronized through the network that bound all of humanity together. All vessels, battle formation, she commanded, her words carrying not just through communication systems, but through the shared consciousness of every crew member. Remember what we're fighting for. Remember who we are. On Earth, Sarah Chen monitored the Crucible network from the primary control center. The neural load was immense, billions of minds linked together through quantum-enhanced connections. But instead of burning out, something unprecedented was happening. The human consciousness was adapting, evolving to handle the strain. The transformation is accelerating, Marcus reported, his voice filled with wonder. The star metal isn't just responding to us anymore. It's becoming part of us. Our neural patterns are shifting to match its quantum state. Through the network, Sarah could feel it happening. Human consciousness was expanding, transcending its biological limitations. The star metal that they had learned to forge was becoming a part of their very being, just as the Forerunners had intended. The void entities struck first, their attack aimed at Saturn's rings where humanity had built massive forge facilities. But they found something waiting for them, not just weapons and shields, but a unified consciousness that could adapt as quickly as they could. Maya's fleet moved as one organism, ships flowing through space in patterns that mimicked the quantum dance of star metal itself. Where the void tried to consume, they responded with focused stellar energy, backed by the combined will of billions of minds. They're pulling back, Maya reported, feeling the void entity's confusion through the network. They've never encountered anything like this. We're not prey anymore. We're something else entirely. But the void was ancient and cunning. It had devoured countless civilizations, adapted to overcome every defense. The entities began to merge, combining into something massive enough to overwhelm even humanity's unified defense. Sarah watched through 1,000 eyes as the void coalesced into a single vast consciousness, a darkness that threatened to extinguish all light in the solar system. But in that moment of greatest peril, she finally understood what the Forerunners had been trying to tell them. The star metal, she broadcast through the Crucible network. It's not just a tool or a weapon. It's a key to unlocking something within ourselves. The Forerunners didn't just build with it, they became one with it. And now it's our turn. Through the network, every human connected could feel the truth of her words. The star metal wasn't just responding to their will, it was responding to their potential, their capacity to become something more than they had been. Everyone, Sarah commanded, don't just focus your thoughts. Open yourselves to the star metal. Let it in. Let it change you. Across the solar system, humanity took its greatest leap. Through the Crucible network, billions of minds opened themselves fully to the star metal's influence. The transformation that had been gradually occurring accelerated, consciousness expanding beyond physical limitations. The void entity struck, its darkness reaching out to consume everything in its path. But where it touched, it found not just matter and energy, but transformed human consciousness, backed by the quantum resonance of star metal that had become part of their very being. Maya felt it first aboard the Starforge. Her consciousness expanded beyond her body, merging with her ship, her crew, the very fabric of space around them. Through the network, she could feel billions of others doing the same, humanity transforming into a unified quantum consciousness that existed in harmony with the star metal. The void recoiled, but it was too late. Humanity had become something it couldn't consume, couldn't corrupt. Every star metal ship, every forge facility, every quantum-linked mind became part of a greater whole. Where the void brought darkness, they answered with light, not just stellar energy, but the light of transformed consciousness. The battle that followed transcended physical combat. It was consciousness against consciousness, transformed humanity wielding the power of stars against an entity that had known only consumption. In the end, there was never really any doubt about the outcome. The void entity, for the first time in its ancient existence, knew defeat. It fractured under the combined force of humanity's transformed will, its darkness scattered and driven back into the spaces between stars. In the aftermath, humanity found itself forever changed. The Crucible network had evolved into something permanent, not a mere communication system, but a true sharing of consciousness, enhanced and sustained by their symbiosis with star metal. "We've become what the Forerunners hoped we could be," Sarah said, standing with Marcus in the Ganymede facility months later. The ancient structure now pulsed in perfect harmony with human consciousness, its secrets fully accessible to their transformed minds. "More than that," Marcus replied. "We've become something new, something unique." Through the network, they could feel humanity spreading out across the stars, building new cities of star metal, seeking other civilizations that might be ready to receive the same gift they had been given. The void still existed in the darkness between stars, but it was no longer a threat, merely a reminder of what they had overcome. The Forerunners had given humanity an inheritance, but what they had become was something entirely their own. They were no longer just the species that had learned to forge cities from star metal. They were the species that had used that knowledge to forge themselves anew.